Showing compassion to all living entities, you will attain self-realization. Giving assurance of safety to all, you will perceive your own self as well as all the universes in me and myself in you. Purport. The simple process of self-realization for every living entity is described here. The first principle to be understood is that this world is a product of the Supreme Will. There is an identity of this world with the Supreme Lord. This identity is accepted in a misconceived way by the impersonalists. They say that the Supreme Absolute Truth, transforming himself into the universe, loses his separate existence. Thus they accept the world and everything in it to be the Lord. That is pantheism, wherein everything is considered to be the Lord. This is the view of the impersonalist. But those who are personal devotees of the Lord take everything to be the property of the Supreme Lord. Everything, whatever we see, is the manifestation of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, everything should be engaged in the service of the Lord. This is oneness. The difference between the impersonalist and the personalist is that the impersonalist does not accept the separate existence of the Lord, but the personalist accepts the Lord. He understands that although he distributes himself in so many ways, he has his separate personal existence. This is described in Bhagavad Gita. I am spread all over the universe in my impersonal form. Everything is resting on me, but I am not present. There is a nice example regarding the sun and the sunshine. The sun, by its sunshine, is spread all over the universe, and all the planets rest on the sunshine. But all the planets are different from the sun planet. One cannot say that because the planets are resting on the sunshine, these planets are also the sun. Similarly, the impersonal or pantheistic view that everything is God is not a very intelligent proposal. The real position, as explained by the Lord himself, is that although nothing can exist without him, it is not a fact that everything is him. He is different from everything. So here also the Lord says, "You will see everything in the world to be non-different from me." This means that everything should be considered a product of the Lord's energy, and therefore everything should be employed in the service of the Lord. One's energy should be utilized for one's self-interest. That is the perfection of the energy. This energy can be utilized for real self-interest if one is compassionate. A person in Krishna consciousness, a devotee of the Lord, is always compassionate. He is not satisfied that only he himself is a devotee, but he tries to distribute the knowledge of devotional service to everyone. There are many devotees of the Lord who faced many risks in distribution of the devotional service of the Lord to people in general. That should be done. You want me to read the whole purport? Yeah, I can. Yeah. It is also said that a person who goes to the temple of the Lord and worships with great devotion, but who does not show sympathy to people in general or show respect to other devotees is considered to be a third-class devotee. The second-class devotee is he who is merciful and compassionate to the fallen souls. The second-class devotee is always cognizant of his position as an eternal servant of the Lord. He therefore makes friendships with devotees of the Lord, acts compassionately toward the general public in teaching them devotional service, and refuses to cooperate or associate with non-devotees. As long as one is not compassionate to people in general in his devotional service to the Lord, he is third-class devotee. The first-class devotee gives assurance to every living being that there is no fear of this material existence. Let us live in Krishna consciousness and conquer the nations of material existence. It is indicated here that Karma Muni was directed by the Lord to be very compassionate and liberal in his household life and to give assurance to the people in his renounced life. A sannyasi, one in the renounced order of life, is meant to give enlightenment to the people. He should travel, going from home to enlighten. The householder, by the spell of Maya, becomes absorbed in family affairs and forgets his relationship with Krishna. If he dies in forgetfulness, like the cats and dogs, then his life is spoiled. It is the duty of a sannyasi, therefore, to go and awaken the forgetful souls with enlightenment of their eternal relationship with the Lord and to engage them in devotional service. The devotees should show mercy to their fallen souls and also give them the assurance of fearlessness. As soon as one becomes a devotee of the Lord, he is convinced that he is protected by the Lord. Fear itself is afraid of the Lord. Therefore, what has he to do with fearfulness? To award fearlessness to the common man is the greatest act of charity. A sannyasi, or one who is in the renounced order of life, should wander from door to door, from village to village, from town to town, and from country to country, all over the world as far as he is able to travel, and enlighten the householders about Krishna consciousness. A person who is a householder but is initiated by sannyasi has the duty to spread Krishna consciousness at home. As far as possible, he should call his friends and neighbors to his house and hold classes in Krishna consciousness. Holding a class means chanting the holy name of Krishna and speaking from Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. There are immense literatures for spreading Krishna consciousness, and it is the duty of each and every householder to learn about Krishna from his sannyasi spiritual master. There is a division of labor in the Lord's service. The householder's duty is to earn money, because a sannyasi is not supposed to earn money, but is completely dependent on the householder. The householder should earn money by business or by profession and spend at least 50% of his income to spread Krishna consciousness. 25% he can spend for his family, and 25% he should save to meet emergencies. This example was shown by Rupa Goswami. The devotees should follow it. Actually, to be one with the Supreme Lord means to be one with the interest of the Lord. Becoming one with the Supreme Lord does not imply becoming as great as the Supreme Lord. It is impossible. The part is never equal to the whole. The living entity is always a minute part. Therefore, his oneness with the Lord is that he is interested in the one interest of the Lord. The Lord wants every living entity to always think about him, to be his devotee and always worship him. This is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava mad bhakta. Krishna wants everyone always to think of him. Everyone should always offer obeisances to Krishna. This is the will of the Supreme Lord, and devotees should try to fulfill his desire. Since the Lord is unlimited, his desire is also unlimited. There is no stoppage, and therefore the service of the devotee is also unlimited. In the transcendental world, there is unlimited competition between the Lord and the servitor. The Lord wants to fulfill his desires unlimitedly, and the devotee also serves him to fulfill his unlimited desires. There is an unlimited oneness of interest between the Lord and his devotee. Om Jnanatimidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivikasa Swami Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastacha Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kritvadayam cha jiveshu dattvachabhayam atmavan mai atmanam saha jagad drakshyasi atmya atmani chapiman. Showing compassion to all living entities, you will attain self-realization. Giving assurance to safety to all, you will perceive your own self as well as the universes in me and myself in you. So here Prabhupada is covering several aspects of Krishna consciousness, ISKCON, starting with Tattva, the difference between the understanding of the Vaishnavas and the understanding of the followers of Adi Shankaracharya. Followed up with the mood of the devotee and then the culture which the devotees are living in with the different classes of devotees. So this Mayavad philosophy is something that we stumble upon all the time. Prabhupada is stressing it so much. Why? Because we are the Mayavadis. as Prabhupada said early in ISKCON. One of his disciples asked, Prabhupada, who are these Mayavadis you're mentioning all the time? He said, you. Why? Because we may not be Mayavadis because we're following Shankaracharya. Maybe not any of us knew who Shankaracharya was before we came in contact with ISKCON. I didn't. I had no idea who that was until Prabhupada mentioned him. But the Mayavad philosophy was still there, thinking that everything is one. That there is no difference between me and the king of Sweden. Or there's no difference between me and Bill Gates. That is one kind of oneness. That even though there are people who are way more qualified in doing things than my own self, I thought he's just a normal human being like me. So we're equal. Welcome to the socialist society. It's a kind of Mayavad. And also not seeing other people as persons. That's also common. For example, the book distributors experience this all the time when they try to, them being a person trying to approach another person, but the person is not treating as a person, just as an annoyance to be avoided. But the Mayavad philosophy of Shankaracharya is straight against the Vaishnava philosophy. Now we must understand that Advaita is in the Vedic scriptures. It's not something that Shankaracharya has come up with. It is there in the scripture, but what he did was that he put Brahman in the front of everything, in front of Lord Vishnu and Krishna. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, there is Advaita there. Krishna saying, I am Ram, I am the tasting water. This is oneness. But Krishna is saying that he is the supreme, he is the source of it. But the philosophy of Shankaracharya is that everything is, that Krishna is coming from Brahman. Vishnu is coming from Brahman. But in Vaishnavism it's the other way around. That Krishna is pervading everything with Brahman. That is his energy, and he's pervading everything in this way. So Mayavad philosophy, as Prabhupada has said, is a word jugglery, actually. It's a word salad deluxe. It's deluxe because everyone is buying it so easily. It's so attractive that everything is oneness and there is no qualities whatsoever. It means that everything is one, there is no discrimination, and then everyone can live peacefully. But it's not actually true. It's a dangerous philosophy. Actually, Madhvacharya did actually our acharyas, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and their followers have done an amazing work cutting up this whole philosophy. Actually, if we look into the teachings of Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, they cut the philosophy into pieces. We belong to the Madhva Gaudiya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. We are linked to the Tattvavadis through Madhavendra Puri, who was a follower of Madhvacharya. And then the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is a Shakabeda branch of Madhvacharya, came into existence when Lord Chaitanya appeared and manifested this Sampradaya in his whole. So this the prameya of Adi Shankaracharya is this Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, that this universe is false, this creation is false. That's their prameya. And that the jiva is equal to Brahman, and that all shastras should be understood according to this. That's the prameya of the Advaitavadis. So the problem is this mithya. Madhvacharya is explaining mithya. He said if you dissect the word mithya, false, the whole philosophy of Adi Shankaracharya just falls apart. because mithya means false. So it means, false means if something is false, it does not exist. But something must exist. Brahman exists, but apparently Brahman, which is without qualities, has somehow been covered by avidya, by ignorance. We, the living entities, which are Brahman, have somehow been covered by ignorance, even though Brahman has no qualities. And all of a sudden, this creation is now manifested, which is false. So something without qualities have created something. Does it sound familiar? It's like saying that nothing created Big Bang. It's the same thing. So somehow we're all here because we got covered by ignorance, which was not there in the first place. What is this? This mithya, is it real, or is it? Yeah, they say yeah, but no. It's beyond false and true. It's beyond false and true. I'll say, okay. But he said, no, it's anarvichaniya. Yeah, anarvichaniya means it cannot be described with human words. That's what they say. Like, but you guys say that the Brahman is also anarvichaniya. It can also not be described with human words. So basically what you say is that Brahman and discovering this Maya is of the same qualities. So basically Brahman does not exist if it's anarvichaniya. So it doesn't really hold anyway pretty well. And the philosophy of Madhvacharya, he has 9 pillars. This is called 9 pillars of Madhvacharya. Is cutting apart this whole Mayavad philosophy. He was very heavy. The Tattvavadis are famous for this, for battling against the philosophy of Shankaracharya for decades, millenniums. And the battle is still going on. It's still not finished. But there was a problem with the philosophy of Shankaracharya even before he established his commentary. The Vaishnavas were on his case already then. There is one Bhaskacharya. He wrote a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, saying that he used the term Mayavadis because he saw that these Shankarites, they are thinking so much about what is Maya that they're Maya conscious instead of Brahman conscious. They have to think about what is Maya, what is not Maya all the time. And also they see the Supreme Lord as Maya. And therefore we Vaishnavas are strongly against this philosophy. In Shankaracharya's Vedanta Varibhash, he writes, Maya vachinam chaitanyam pareshvaram, which means literally the Supreme Lord is covered by Maya. So we cannot work together. It just doesn't work. So it is a strong reason why Prabhupada stressed so much that when we are faced with this philosophy, we must destroy it. Because the first and foremost, it's not true. It's not what the scriptures say. Shankaracharya has manipulated the scriptures a little. There is one example in Ishopanishad, actually, where Shankaracharya was adding a little vocal just to get his point of oneness. can't find it within my notes. But the Shankarites, they criticized Madhvacharya for fiddling a little with the Shrutis, Shruti Vakyas. So they criticized him for this, but say, hey, look what Shankaracharya did in his Upanishad. He put a vocal there, which is not grammatically justified. What you can do is that you can not necessarily add things, but you can pronounce things in a certain way, still hold the truth of the meaning, but giving a little extra meaning. It's one of the Shruti Vakyas. And that is actually grammatically justified. Madhvacharya was very, very smart. Very smart. So this is going on. So we in ISKCON must be prepared to defeat this philosophy when it is present. So, as Ramanuja said, you must never underestimate the enemy, ever. That is the strategy of Duryodhana. He did that. He underestimated the powers of the Pandavas all the time. The Bhishmadev, Kripacharya, Dronacharya, all of them knew that the Pandavas were impossible to defeat. Always. But Duryodhana and Karna was so positive that they could defeat the Pandavas. Yeah, just throw them out on the battlefield, we will defeat all of them. And Duryodhana was so happy because he had Krishna's army. So he thought, we are way more than them, so we can defeat them. Even though the seniors all the time said, it is impossible. And still, after 11 days in the battlefield, they had to remind him, the reason why you lose, Duryodhana, is because you are fighting against the Pandavas. So we must not make that mistake, that if we're going to face this philosophy, we must study our Siddhanta properly. And see where their weaknesses lies. But it is available. There are devotees within ISKCON who has done a wonderful job in digging up the teachings of the previous acharyas and made it into simple presentation. I can recommend the 9 Pillars of Madhvacharya by Hari Parshad Prabhu. So he's one of the pandits from the New Delhi temple. He had given a wonderful seminar, 3-part, on the philosophy of Madhvacharya and how his philosophy is defeating the philosophy of Adi Shankaracharya. Can very much recommend that. So the Prabhupada is presenting the philosophy of Adi Shankaracharya very much in Adi Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya is meeting the Mayavadis, as we know. In that chapter, Prabhupada is explaining pretty much the problem with the philosophy of Adi Shankaracharya and what Vedanta Sutra is actually about. And here in this purport, he's mentioning that the Mayavadis are thinking that the Supreme Lord himself is transforming, which we know is not true. The Mayavadis are not accepting that the Supreme can have separate energies. This is the thing. That the source must transform itself. That's what they believe. Because they think that they're so into this oneness that this oneness must transform itself, or else it cannot be true. So therefore, we here in the Vaishnava tradition, we're saying no. There is the energy. There is the energetic and the energy. For example, you have the subject and the predicate. You know what the predicate is? Yeah. So, in the Shankaracharya philosophy, Brahman is the subject and Vishnu is the predicate. But in our philosophy, it's the other way around. It is that Krishna or Vishnu is the subject, the person who's using Brahman for different purposes. So it's the other way around. Madhvacharya is also saying in defeat of Adi Shankaracharya that it is not the Supreme Lord that is transforming, it's the Prakriti that is transforming. This is our philosophy also. It is Prakriti that is transforming. Three modes of material nature, Mahatattva. That is what is transforming, not the Supreme Lord. And here we come to Vedic epistemology. We have the Upadana Karanam and the Nimitta Karanam, cause and effect. So in Vedic epistemology, you have two causes of something. We take the example with the potter. This is coming from the scriptures. Very nice example. You have the potter who's making pots. So you have the potter and you have the clay. Both of them are causes. The clay is the Upadana Karanam, the cause which transforms into the effect. And the Nimitta Karanam is the potter. It is the cause, but the potter is not transforming. It's still remaining as it is. So this is the thing with the Supreme Lord. The Prakriti is what is cause, but it's also transforming into the effect, into this material creation. But the Supreme Lord, being the Nimitta Karanam, is the cause that is not transforming in the process. And this is confirmed in the invocation of Ishopanishad. Anyone remembers? There's shloka. Ivavashishati. That is a shloka proving that. He remains the same. It's no 1 minus 1 equals 0. That's the Mayavad philosophy. No, 1 minus 1 equals 1. Because nothing can... He is perfect in any state. So... and also this idea with pantheism, which is interesting because Prabhupada mentions pantheism in Canto 2, actually, chapter 2, where Shukadeva Goswami is explaining the Virat Purusha. And how Prabhupada is explaining that this is pantheism, seeing that the material world is God, and explaining that for the devotees, this is just a way for the devotees to think of the Lord, seeing the mountains and seeing the rivers, how it reminds them of the Lord's opulences. But the purpose of Viratrupa or pantheism is also for the atheists to kind of grab an idea of God, because nature is bigger than them. So Prabhupada is explaining that they have it's very difficult for them to grasp that God is a person, just like us. So therefore the first step for them is to see the nature, something that they can grasp, and see that as God. This is how pantheism is a way to Krishna consciousness, but as Prabhupada says here, it's not very intelligent, which is not. Because God is not personally there, it's His energy. But He's not personally there. So, but Prabhupada is also saying that this God realization through Virat Purusha cannot take place unless some tinge of devotional service take place. Which makes sense, because if you want to find God in the dead matter, you have to give up the idea of exploiting it. So if you still have this exploitation mentality, the God realization through dead matter cannot take place naturally. Although there are those who think that. They say, yeah, material nature. this universe is God itself. It's true, but you'll still be on the mental platform if you don't add some devotional service to it. So if you're on the mental platform, there's no question of self-realization. You're still lingering on dualities. So next up, Prabhupada is saying that the devotees are compassionate, which they are, when they are, especially when they are practicing properly. They're doing the sadhana, they are chanting, they are having kirtans, they are treating the devotees well. The Lord manifests in their heart, and naturally they will be compassionate. One interesting or a very important word which Prabhupada uses here is risk. That devotees are willing to take risks in spreading the glories of Krishna consciousness. Because first of all, they know that it is pleasing to the Lord if they give up their own sense of safety and let the Lord protect them. At the same time, being very concerned about the welfare of the jivas. And the Lord rewards such devotees immensely if they put their lives to risk just to spread Krishna's glories. So, calculated risks, of course. Just getting out there and just acting foolishly is not recommended, but calculated risks can be taken. That is the thing. Devotees don't act whimsically without intelligence. They are using the intelligence all the time, because that's sattva guna. But sometimes you may not be sure of what the outcome will be, but you can calculate that somehow it should actually work out, even if I don't have anything planned out. It's called faith. That if I throw myself out there, the Lord will take care of me. Faith is not a feeling, it's a strong belief that the Lord will take care of me if I tread on unexplored area, like that. And then we come to the culture part. The third class, second class, one class devotees. Rupa Goswami is saying that we should, as soon as possible, get away from the third level class of devotee. As soon as possible. It's a very dangerous position. A third class devotee does not have strong faith. He's still on the material platform. Cannot really see the difference between an advanced devotee and a neophyte devotee. Or even a non-devotee. He treats everyone equal. Which is not good. Because it is through the seniors and the more advanced that we get the mercy. So, but there is a good chance for every third class devotee to become a second class, and you do that by following the advice and guidance of the senior devotees who have experience, who know the Shastra properly, and who knows how to apply the philosophy in the books into real life. If they do that very loyally, then they will understand. And they should go out on Sankirtan. They should go out on Sankirtan also, because that's the highway to advancement. And you can get to Madhya Adhikari pretty fast if you are determined on the Sankirtan part. So that is a good, quick way to Madhya Adhikari. And if one is on Madhya Adhikari level, you are pretty much safe. Pretty much. May not be so learned in scripture yet, but with time, with enthusiasm, with perseverance, one will get there. What is that shloka? Utsahan. Yes. That is required. All the time, every day. Then you get to the Madhya Adhikari level. About enthusiasm, Prabhupada, on 2 occasions, one came up to him and said, Prabhupada, I'm not enthusiastic. And he said, then be enthusiastic. But then another time, Prabhupada said to another devotee, you just take a little rest. So how do we understand this? Well, it depends from which guna the devotee is coming from. If he's coming from tamaguna, then he should act enthusiastically. Because he's a little lazy. He needs to kickstart himself. So he should just pretend to be enthusiastic and just go do his service. But then we have those who are so active that they cannot slow down. That's good, but you need to take rest also. Then, if they lose their enthusiasm, they just need to take some time off. Take some rest, rejuvenate themselves. Take it easy. Read some of Prabhupada's books. Do a little yoga stretching. And naturally the enthusiasm will come back because the energy comes back. So this enthusiasm we must maintain very, very well. Those who are enthusiastic, they advance very quickly. As Guru Maharaj said in one of the classes on Ramayana, he was referring from Lakshman, that someone who is enthusiastic is unstoppable. Always. So, this enthusiasm, keep it alive. I should probably stop here. I have some more things to say, but I guess it's time for questions and answers. Yeah.
Comment?
Yeah.
How you said we must calculate this risk. It's very interesting. Once Krishna Kshetra Swami was in Sankirtan, and he saw a fence, and behind the fence it was a couple dogs. It was Doberman, very dangerous dogs. And he said, Krishna will always protect me, and Nisingadev is with me. He came in, and it attacked him very badly, he was bitten on the leg, and I don't know if he was in hospital or something like that. And he said, now I learned my lesson, we should calculate risk. Enthusiasm is good, and we should take a risk for Krishna consciousness, but we should calculate.
Yes. Wow, that's a great example. Strong realization there.
Yeah, how you said, use intelligent.
Yes, because enthusiasm without intelligence is just a rajagun. Yeah, I want this, and just run straight in and mess things up. Like Duryodhana wanted to catch Drupad, and he just took Karna and ran straight into Drupad's city, and they were defeated. Like they were thrown out. Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjuna, Drona, they just stood aside and just witnessed the whole spectacle. I said, what are they doing? And then I said, okay. So then they started to plan how to do things. And then they went in, just a few of them, defeated all Drupad's soldiers and then brought them out. So they were planning properly. They were calculating, okay, where are the strengths and weaknesses? This is Sattva Guna. This is how you do things. And they won. Just 3 or 4 of them. Well, actually 3 or 2. It was Bhima and Arjuna, because Yudhishthira was protecting Dronacharya, his guru. So, yes. We must act in Sattva Guna, or else we will suffer for it. Thank you for this story. Anyone else? Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai.